This case is about a child genius that was destined to go to Cambridge, but once he took a train down to King's Cross in London, he was never seen again.
It's a Friday morning in London. Crowds flow through King's Cross station, rushing towards somewhere, someone, something. In the middle of it all, a boy stands still. He isn't waiting for anyone. He isn't looking around. He knows exactly where he's going, but no one else does. He's 14. His name is Andrew Gosden. He's just arrived from Doncaster, alone. It will be the last confirmed moment anyone sees him. No one knows why he came. No one knows what happened after he left that platform. What makes this disappearance so haunting is not just how suddenly it happened, but how deliberately. To understand why Andrew Gosden's disappearance shook so many, you have to understand who he was before he left. Andrew lived in Balby, a quiet suburb of Doncaster, South Yorkshire, a place where children still walked to school, where neighbours waved from across hedges, and where nothing felt dangerous. He was the younger of two children. His parents, Kevin and Glenys, worked hard and lived simply. Their home was structured, calm, full of love, but never loud. Evenings were for books. Mornings ran on time, and Andrew fit that rhythm perfectly. He was remarkably intelligent, gifted in mathematics, fluent in logic. He attended Macaulay Catholic High School and rarely missed a day. His teachers described him as quiet, but curious, polite, sharp, private. At home, Andrew wasn't rebellious, he wasn't restless. He preferred video games to football, listened to rock and metal bands from the early 2000s, and liked being alone, but never isolated. He had no mobile phone, no social media, no interest in online chat rooms or forums, not because he wasn't allowed, he just didn't seem to need them. There were no fights at home, no secret relationships, no dramatic changes in behavior. In every visible way, Andrew Gosden was steady, predictable, safe. And that's what makes what he did next so impossible to explain. September 14th, 2007. It's a Friday, just like any other. The air is cool, overcast, ordinary. Andrew's parents leave early for work. His older sister Charlotte is still asleep. The house is quiet. It always is. By 8:05 a.m., Andrew should be on his way to school. He's never late, he never skips. But this morning, something changes. Instead of heading to the bus stop, Andrew walks back into the house. No one sees him do this, but later, police would discover his school blazer, his tie, and his bag, neatly folded in his bedroom. He takes £200 from his savings account. He doesn't take a phone. He doesn't take chargers, notebooks, or clothes. Just the clothes on his back and a handheld gaming console. At 9 a.m., Andrew walks into a bank in Doncaster. He knows his account number. He asks to withdraw the exact amount, £200. Nothing more, nothing less. He leaves the bank, walks half a mile to the train station, and purchases a one-way ticket to London King's Cross. He declines the cheaper return fare. The clerk remembers that. The train departs at 9:35 a.m. By 11:20, Andrew arrives in London. At 11:25 a.m., he's captured on CCTV. His posture is relaxed. His face gives nothing away. He walks through the crowd like he's been here before. No hesitation, no signs of distress. He doesn't appear lost or afraid. That footage is the last verifiable image of Andrew Gosden. No security cameras catch him beyond that platform. No witnesses come forward who remember speaking to him. No hotel check-ins, no transport records, no trail. He was 14 years old, and in the span of 4 hours, he'd quietly stepped out of his life with no message, no note, and no clear reason why. By late afternoon, the Gosden house is still and silent. It's been that way all day. Kevin Gosden returns home from work just after 5 p.m. He expects to hear Andrew's voice, maybe the soft hum of his game console, the usual things, but the house is quiet. Andrew's school uniform is still neatly placed on his bed. His bedroom door is open. The air inside feels untouched. They call his school. They expect confusion. Maybe he stayed late. But the school tells them something they weren't ready to hear. Andrew never arrived. Not that morning, not at all. Panic doesn't come all at once. At first there's reason. They call his friends. Maybe he's gone to the park, the library, a music shop. But no one has seen him. No one knows anything. He hasn't called. He never came home. That night, the Gosdens report their son missing. And with that, the search begins. South Yorkshire police take the report. But in those early hours, it's classified as a missing child case, with no evidence of abduction and no immediate threats reported. Procedure begins slowly. The family doesn't wait. They contact friends, local media, anyone who will listen. They search streets and fields on foot. They post his photo across town, the schoolboy with glasses and a quiet smile. But as the hours turn into days, and no one sees Andrew, no one hears from him, and no one can explain why he would leave, the truth starts to take root. This wasn't a misunderstanding, it wasn't a teenager testing boundaries. Andrew was gone. The search for Andrew Gosden widened quickly, but as police began to dig, they found far less than they expected. Doncaster station had no working CCTV. There were no recordings of Andrew buying his ticket, no footage of him boarding the train, nothing to confirm what happened between the house and London. At King's Cross, there was just one angle, one camera. It showed Andrew exiting the platform at 11:25 a.m., wearing a Slipknot t-shirt, black jeans, and a backpack. He looked calm. No one was following him. He didn't hesitate. He didn't appear lost. He simply walked out of frame. Police reviewed hours of surveillance from surrounding businesses, streets, transit lines, searching for even one more glimpse of him. But in a city of 9 million, he disappeared like a ghost. Every frame of video held hope, and every dead end deepened the dread. Meanwhile, the Gosden family turned to the public. They printed thousands of leaflets, spoke to every major news outlet, stood in the rain outside King's Cross, handing out Andrew's photo to strangers. Kevin Gosden appeared on television, his voice shaking but his words clear. "If you're watching, Andrew, please just let us know you're okay." But no letters came, no emails, no phone calls. Over the weeks that followed, tips flooded in, sightings from all over the country, none of them confirmed. Someone claimed to have seen Andrew on a train to Oxford, another walking along the Thames, but every lead dissolved under scrutiny. Every promise of progress faded. As weeks became months, the media cycle slowed, other headlines took its place, and the family's pleas began to echo, fainter and fainter. The investigation had reached a terrible crossroads. There were no suspects, no crime scene, no trail, only the quiet certainty that Andrew was somewhere. As weeks turned to months, the investigation into Andrew Gosden's disappearance grew colder, but the questions never stopped. If Andrew didn't plan to come home, where was he planning to go? Over the years, reports filtered in, each one offering a possible glimpse of the boy who vanished. A woman in Covent Garden claimed to have seen a teenager matching Andrew's description, quiet, alone, sitting on the steps of a theatre. A man in Shrewsbury said he'd spoken to a boy in a cafe wearing the same band shirt, saying he had nowhere to go. Others described someone riding buses in the West End, sleeping rough near Embankment, or walking through Hyde Park at dusk. None of these sightings were verified. No names, no photographs, no video. But to a family looking for answers, even a whisper can sound like a promise. Some theories looked inward. Was Andrew unhappy in ways no one could see? Was he struggling with something he didn't know how to share? Kevin Gosden has spoken openly about this possibility, that Andrew may have been facing an internal battle, something invisible to those around him. He wasn't bullied, he wasn't falling behind, but some who knew him wondered, could Andrew have felt pressure from the weight of expectation? Quiet children often go unnoticed, even when they're quietly unraveling. Others believed Andrew might have been groomed online, lured by someone who promised understanding, adventure, or escape. Yet forensic checks found no evidence of online communication, no emails, no hidden chat logs, nothing on the home computers. So then came the darker questions. Could Andrew have fallen into something far beyond his control? Could someone have met him at King's Cross, planned it, staged it, waited for him? But if so, why leave no trace? Why no struggle? Why no demand? No signature? No end game? Every theory opened another door, and every door led to silence. For over a decade, Andrew's disappearance seemed frozen in time. No new leads, no movement, just the same questions, echoing into silence. Then 14 years later, everything changed. In December 2021, South Yorkshire Police made an announcement. 2 men, aged 38 and 45, had been arrested in London. One was charged with possession of indecent images. The other with attempting to incite a child to engage in sexual activity. Andrew's name appeared again in national headlines. Was this the break everyone had been waiting for? Investigators stated that the arrests were part of a wider inquiry directly connected to the Andrew Gosden case. For the first time in years, there was hope. Hope that someone, somewhere, might finally be held accountable. That maybe, just maybe, answers were coming. But as quickly as the headlines appeared, the details began to thin. The police offered no timeline, No evidence was publicly disclosed, no charges were filed directly in relation to Andrew himself. And in September 2022, the Crown Prosecution Service quietly announced that no further action would be taken. The arrests led nowhere. For the Gosden family, it was a familiar heartbreak, hope sharpened into disappointment. A door opened just wide enough to imagine the truth, then slammed shut. What the men knew, if anything, remains undisclosed. Their connection to Andrew, if there ever was one, is now sealed by silence. Case remains open, but time has made it brittle, evidence fades, memories distort, and with each year that passes, certainty feels further away. In the years since Andrew Gosden vanished, his family has carried a weight that never lightens. It doesn't scream, it doesn't fade, it simply waits. In every room he once touched. Kevin Gosden still speaks publicly about his son. His voice is careful, never angry, often trembling. He says he doesn't need all the answers, just one. Is Andrew alive? That's it. That's everything. His mother, Glenys, remains more private, but her grief is no less persistent. Every holiday, every birthday, every ordinary day that should have been shared passes without him. But this is not a family that gave up. Even when the investigation lost momentum, they kept going. They've worked with charities, police forces, and independent investigators. They've spoken to the press, posted online, kept his face visible, even when the world stopped watching. They've opened every letter, answered every tip, listened to every rumor, because the one that sounds absurd might be the one that matters. Online, the search continues. Supporters share updates, theories, timelines. There are podcasts, crowdsourced investigations, threads that stretch for pages, each one trying to find something the police missed. In digital corners across the internet, strangers who never knew Andrew refuse to forget him. Some offer analysis, others offer prayers, but all of them ask the same question: where is he? It's easy to think of missing persons as stories, cases, files, but behind the name is a room that was never repainted, a chair that was never moved, a door that still waits to open. And behind every unsolved mystery is a family still listening for footsteps that never come. It's been more than 17 years since Andrew Gosden left his home, since he walked out of Doncaster station with no return ticket, since he vanished into one of the busiest cities in the world without leaving a trail. We've seen the facts, we've followed the CCTV, we've traced the theories, we've watched his family fight against time, silence, and fading hope. But the truth is, we still don't know what happened to Andrew. Not fully, not enough. And maybe you've heard this story before. Maybe it felt like just another name, another missing face. But he wasn't. He was real. He is real. He had a favorite band. He loved puzzles. He preferred staying in to going out. He laughed with his sister. He was gentle. He was brilliant. And one morning, he made a choice that no one can explain. If you've seen something, if you know something, no matter how small, please come forward. You can contact South Yorkshire Police or reach out through Missing People UK. You can share this video. You can talk about Andrew, because someone, somewhere, knows what happened. And maybe they've been waiting for the world to ask again. At True Crime O'Clock, we tell the stories that deserve to be heard. The stories that don't end when the headlines fade. If you want to help keep Andrew's name alive and stay connected to the stories that matter, subscribe, share, and join us in giving voice to the missing.